Okay, so this short video must be going through my app study sync. So let me start with the requirements txt. So for the web framework, I used Flask and also used Flask cores. I tried using other versions of Flask, but with Python setbacks and stuff, that even the newest Python version wasn't compatible with Flask, so I had to switch to Flask 2.33, and then I used an older version of Python as well. I used for the data manipulation, I used Panda and NumPy. Those two seem to work well. It's mostly for just data manipulation and analysts. It really introduces the data framework, which provides fast, efficient ways to really store and clean and transform the data structure, like tables or even spreadsheets. NumPy, it's really a fundamental package for scientific computing in Python. It provides support for large multi-dimensional arrays and matrices, along with large collections of high-level mathematical functions to operate on these arrays. It's built on just NumPy itself. For the machine learning, I use scikit-learn. It's basically used for basically just for simple data mining and data analysts. It includes like a vast collection of classification regressions, clustering, and just reduction of logarithms. If I talk about the BERT model that I used here, should be somewhere here. Basically, I used Torch 201. This is a PyTorch library. It's a heavy use for building and training deep neuron networks due to its basic dynamic computational graph, which is basically more flexible than other frameworks. Transformers 4332, this library was provided by Hugging Face. It's an implementation of a state-of-the-art transformer models, so like BERT, GPT, T5 for like NLP tasks. It makes it basically easier to download and use pre-trained models for tasks like text classification and summarization and translation. So like for this app, I'm trying to create similarities for people who have different preferences and stuff like that, like classes and where they want to meet and what days work best for them. So using this model for Torch and Transformers really worked very well. Also, since Transformers 222 is an extension built on Transformers, its primary purpose is to generate high-quality sentence embeddings. So that was also very useful and helpful for this project. Hugging Face 0.51, this library allowed me to interact with the Hugging Face Hub, a platform that really hosts tons of pre-trained models. If you've never heard of Hugging Face, I highly recommend going on Hugging Face, creating an account, and just looking and seeing what's already out there. It's really great for beginners. Like even myself, I would consider myself a beginner in this, and Hugging Face has definitely helped me develop this project. For the database, I used MySQL. I was able to use a pure client. I used PyMySQL 110, a pure Python client for connecting to the MySQL database. It basically serves as the drive that the primary SQL, Chemi, or your application uses to communicate with the MySQL server. So it's kind of like that middle ground between the app and the MySQL server. It's communicating and basically keeping both things in touch. For authentication, I'm using PyJWT. It's a 280. It's used to implement like JSON web tokens. I'm using bcrypt 411, a library used for password hashing, instead of basically just storing raw passwords in the database, which would be kind of sketch considering anyone can access the database, or something like that could happen. And that way, if someone does access the database, they don't really know what or understand what they're actually looking at. For utilities, I use Python.env100. It's a basic utility used to read key value pairs from an env file. I used a Gunicorn 2120, short for Green Unicorn, if you didn't know. This is a Python HTTP server. It is a production-ready server used to run your Flask application or other Python web apps. So now that I've talked about that a little bit, let me look around and see what else I could talk about here. I guess one thing I want to mention is when I first started this project, I accidentally installed Basic React, and you want to make sure you install React Native because it's not going to work if you do that. So the first thing on this application, Transformers Armor will automatically download the pre-trained BERT model, so it's not really something you have to worry about. The biggest thing I noticed with this project is my laptop was going to get out of storage very, very fast, and I started having to uninstall lots of stuff. And there were even times where I'm like, do I need to buy a new laptop because this thing doesn't have much storage left? So just be aware of how much storage your laptop has when you're doing this. I'd make sure you have at least like 15 gigabytes free. I'm not even quite sure what the total amount of storage this took, to be honest with you. I never pay attention until I realized I was running out of storage. So let me look through some of this, see if there's any other tips I can mention. Obviously, just make for this stuff, this is going to be what you put in personally. So just make sure that you're not just putting in like password here. You're actually going to want to put a password in here. And then obviously, whatever key you have, you're going to put that in. You can use a 32 character one, is what you need to use. Let me see. Here's kind of what the terminal could look like when you're running the back end. Let's see. Let me jump to the front end real quick and maybe explain what I could about the front end. Let's see here. Because I use Node, that was a wise choice. It worked very well. I had no issues with Node. All the dependency errors I had, it never had anything to do with Node, except when I didn't realize I had it installed, so my app wasn't running. I had to install Node, and I'm like, oh, I didn't have that installed, so I had to install it quick. Just React, you understand that probably pretty well. If you have any questions about how the front end really connects to the back end, that I suggest just getting the readme for the back end, to be honest. It seems like a fire structure of what, in general, what yours should look like. Looks kind of overwhelming at first, but in reality, it just is basically just the outcome of what you're creating. You're not really focused on creating this itself. It's what you're creating will look like this eventually. And obviously, if you're cloning it, then you don't really have to worry about it either. So, to I guess yeah, if the port's already in use, if you're like me, you keep starting it and terminating it back and forth, and sometimes it would say the port's already in use, so just use this command here, and that'll just kill the Metro server, and then you just start fresh again. Also, if you have like weird gradual build errors, which I had tons of these, because like certain data wasn't getting cleaned up, and it just gets to the point where you run it so many times that there's tons of like local data on your computer. If that's just kind of bugging the app out when you're trying to run it. So if that's the case, first thing to do is just run this command here, and it cleans out a bunch of the stuff for you. And it actually did help a couple of times with my issues. And then yeah, if your backend just doesn't seem to be working, first just type that in your browser, and it should just say API is healthy, etc., etc. I double checked all the links should work here. If you have issues, just click on GitHub issues, and that'll take you to a page where you can make some comments, and I can try to fix or address whatever the concerns may be. But yeah, let me go for the code maybe a little bit here. This is the all the Python code. I guess I won't go through some of it because it has like my hash passwords and stuff, so I probably shouldn't be showing that. All right, check these in here. And there's comments in all my code, so you should be able to understand what you're trying to code doing. If I go to the back end here, there should be some comments here. Maybe this one. Looks like I didn't put much comments in this one, but this one will kind of tell you if it's reloading the groups that you have in your search. And then this is obviously a project that's still in work, so you're gonna see some things like this that's like mad at me for whatever reasons. But the app right now is running fine. It's just certain things aren't being used, but because I still need to add some things I've been working on. So profile setup. See what's in here, but I might be able to talk about. I had some issues when I was setting up a profile. I'd do setup profile, and then it would just keep showing like the bar spinning in circles, basically. But then it just does that infinitely if the backend isn't receiving anything. So then if that's what's happening, I had to put in some error message like after 5 or 10 seconds of it trying to set up the account, it'll say after 10 seconds API server did not respond. So like if I go here, no, sorry, it wasn't that one. Yeah, like it will complain about the Real AI service TS is not responding, 9 whatever. So like error, HTTP error, something like that, just to kind of get that hey, this is why your backend's not responding, why it's not setting up the account. Um, you like the chat storage service. I still need to add some stuff to this about how I want it to connect to the SQL database, but that at the moment that's not a super big deal. Uh, let's see what else I can really talk about here. Eventually, I plan on having an app logo, so that's what that is. So don't really worry about that. If you see this and you go, "What's this about?" Well, it's not really important. You can fool around and do your own app logo, but I still need to download some dependencies, so I'm actually able to have an app logo when I launch the Android simulator. Let's see here. If you, I ran all this on Android, so if you want to try on this on a different iOS or whatever, feel free to do that. And if you have questions, feel free to also put that in my Git, because I never tested this with a Apple product. So if that's the challenge you want to do, go for it, and you can create this on your GitHub and make it the available for Apple devices, which I think would be really cool. Like I said, maybe it works perfectly fine, but I haven't been testing it with Apple products, so I'm sure there's gonna be some sort of setback if you try to run this on your iPhone. Uh, I don't think there's anything else I really need to talk about here. I guess I already talked about this a little bit. Right now, I'm working on this for a mobile application contest at where I go to school at. So, looking forward to presenting that fair and seeing all the other people's projects as well. If you want to reach out to me by email, you can reach out to my school email, which will be activated for maybe about another year, and then I'll be graduated, and then this email will be invalid most likely. So I'll probably have to replace that with my personal or other email I'll put in there. Let's see here. Anything else I really want to talk about? I think that's pretty much it. So thank you very much.